Hey everybody, I think I've gone live and it is good to be back talking with you guys straight, direct, live interaction, answering you guys' questions. It's been a couple weeks and it's been a very eventful couple of weeks for me because my wife gave birth to our third child. So all is good, all is healthy, but babies are very time consuming and leave you very tired, and so it's been a interesting. Yes, today she's 8 days old, so fun times. Maybe I asked my wife to bring her up. I don't know if she will. I don't know if the baby will get to make an appearance in this little live stream that we're going to do here, but perhaps you guys will get to actually meet the baby here live on here. Actually, I'll text my wife real quick if you guys want to start throwing questions down into the chat, and we will see what we can make happen. There we go. Texted her baby to see if maybe you guys can have a little sneak peek of the baby. Let's see what questions we've got here. A bunch of people saying hi, a bunch of people saying what's up, and all sorts of fun stuff like that. Thank you so much for that. First question we got a super chat from Jacob Silvers asking, have you seen the Netflix show Stranger Things? Yes. I've seen both seasons. I've actually got a sweater and everything for it and everything. So pretty soon when I'm in Texas, it's going to be like 4 months till it starts to cool down here. But yeah, I loved season 1 and just the aesthetic of it, the nostalgia, the storytelling, in that it's very much like a 10-hour long Amblin film from the 80s. It feels much more in common with the film, and it's like, because it's more like a single story kind of chopped up. And then it has the aesthetics of one of these 1980s shows or movies. Oh, the baby is on the way, so fun times. But then the second season, I was pretty underwhelmed by the second season. I didn't like what they did. They divided the team up, gave all of them PTSD, and some of the dynamic for me was lost in doing that. We lost kind of the rapport that I liked of all these different characters, and then by giving them PTSD, they weren't necessarily have the charm and the spark that worked really well in the first season. So it felt like a step back for me. And then there was episode 7 or 8 where they have this offshoot episode that felt like a backdoor pilot for an 11 separate show that felt off. And so there's just a bunch of things about it for me that just underwhelmed me. Nothing that turned me off from the show or anything like that. I'm very excited for season 3 whenever season 3 happens. But that's my kind of quick take on Stranger Things. All right, what a question. Chatterbox Reviews. How are you so jacked? I'm not as jacked as it might seem. I'm just good at taking pictures. So my job is that I pick up buckets of paint, 50-pound buckets of paint, one in each hand, and just do kind of like this. So then I'm like shoulder and bicep exercises all day and back exercises all day long. And then at the beginning of July, I started going back to the gym, really kind of picked it up. About a month ago is when I started going. I only go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, less than 3 hours. 2-3 hours is all I'm doing at the gym, but I only do compound lifts, heavy weights, and then I just eat a ton of protein and take lots of all the pills that they sell at the local grocery store. I'm taking all of them to have a nice hormone balance and a nutritional balance and all there. But how do I stay jacked? Take the right pictures. Take pictures right after you go to the gym. Turn a little bit so that like the muscle that you want to look big. Like if I do this, my arm looks much bigger than it actually is because it's the closest to the camera. Do all those tricks and suddenly people think you're way more jacked than you actually are. We got a baby?
Are you going to take her?
Well, just toss her.
No, I'm not going to do that. She's out. Oh, careful. There you go.
Oh, here we go. There we go. So this is Karis. She naps a lot. Chloe, you're barely wearing any clothes.
Yeah, come here, baby.
And she's wearing a cape. That's basically all she's got on. And she sleeps a lot. She watched some dragon show last night and paid attention for about a minute and eats. And that's it. That's all she does. She doesn't really have any tricks just yet.
Cute.
So, and she's cute. So there's my baby. All right, next question. Skytard0902. We got another super chat in here. In the future, would you be interested in doing a Draw My Life? I don't actually know what a Draw My Life is. If you want to tell me what a Draw My Life is down below, or if someone can tell me, I can elaborate on that. But
Bye, everybody.
but I don't actually know what a Draw My Life is. So if you want to tell me, I can elaborate more on that. Thanks so much for the super chat. So hopefully I can be a little bit more helpful if you can elaborate on. I'm paying attention to the chat board. If you can tell me what a Draw My Life is, but I just don't know what that is. Just Thompson, are you excited for Venom? Yes, I'm very excited for Venom, and for one reason that's a little bit self-serving of sorts. I found out today I'm invited to the press screening. Like I just got the email today that it's coming up 2 weeks from now. I will have already seen it, so I'm getting excited for it and trying to think who I'm going to invite to go watch it with me. But yeah, I actually rewatched Spider-Man 3 and everything to like get Venom on the mind. It's all kinds of fun stuff. Gamer Girl says, what kind of name is Karis? It's Greek and it means grace. It's a Greek name that means grace. Grace has been an important thing in our family, a theme of especially the last several years. And so it just meant a lot to my wife. My wife's always liked the name Karis, and she'd been a little bit slow to go with the name Karis in the past for a couple different reasons. But then, she seemed important, especially with, like I said, life phases now that she wanted to go with it. So that's where I went with. Rejected Dan says, thoughts on Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame? I've never cared for it. By the time it came out, I was in high school, and so I wasn't of the age to really appreciate it. I was actually the age to be most cynical towards a Disney animated film, just because that's the kind of person I had. I was the type of person that eventually had long hair and did all sorts of crazy things. So I wasn't. So I was that person. So I don't have nostalgia for it from back in the day. And then rewatching it now, it seems like a movie with a bit of a confused tone because it has some of the darkest elements of a Disney animated film, just in the inherent nature of the story of someone being rejected, insulted, both by the systems, religious institutions, as well as just the people. There's some just mean-spiritedness in the nature of it. So that's pretty dark for a Disney cartoon. But then you've got goofy side characters at the same time. So it just seems like a pretty confused tone to me. So it's not one that I've particularly enjoyed because I don't know where it falls. Questions. Will Larkin, will you do a meet and greet someday? Sort of. I mean, by chance, if anyone's going to be at WizardCon this weekend here in Austin, I might go to that. In which case, this weekend, I might do a meet and greet. I mean, the problem with doing a meet and greet is that as much as it seems like 60,000 subscribers is an enormous number of subscribers, when you spread those out across the globe, it's not that many. There's not that many people here or at any one place at any one given time. Like if I ever went to LA, which hopefully sometime in the next year and a half I'll go to LA, and for a number of reasons, like I could do one in LA because I know a bunch of people there in that area from YouTube that you could do a meetup and we'd actually see people. But if I were to like here in Austin, be like, hey, let's do a meetup, I would be very lonely because no one would show up to it. Most likely, other than like WizardCon this weekend, there might be some people at WizardCon or Fantastic Fest. I don't know if anyone's at Fantastic Fest. I could meet up for that, but I'd be open to it, but it'd have to be the right thing. Hooked Gaming says, do more Arrow and Flash videos. I'll probably review the first episodes of each of the seasons, and as there's appropriate content that's kind of those more event things, I don't like to do week-to-week reviews because I don't have enough things to say, because with the type of shows that it kind of repeats a little bit. But the big return events, I try and cover material on them, so I'll have some more content in that direction. The movie guy says, what is your favorite action movie? Probably Die Hard, or if you want to go straight action, Die Hard. If you want to go a little bit more expansive to it, Terminator 2. Pretty safe picks, but they're safe picks for really, really obvious reasons. Kellen O'Rourke says, Sean, you owe me an apology now because I'm addicted to the Music Meister song. Just kidding, you're great. If you don't know what she's talking about, in Batman the Brave and the Bold, there's an episode called Man of the Music Meister that my kids fell in love with. My sister had been trying to get me onto it like 10 years ago when it first came out, and they're like, why are you trying to get me on? Why? I don't want to watch a Batman musical. And then I had kids, and I mean, I've seen it probably over 50 times, easily. And then in our car, they'll listen to the soundtrack. My son almost was going to be the Music Meister this year for Halloween. We even bought him the costume. We're going to bleed like all this stuff to kind of get it prepped for him. And then he's like, no, I want to be a Boba Fett. Taking all the fun out of it. All right, we got. Let me see what we got down here. Down in the super chat, Giuseppe De Rosa. Can you do a ranking of the Walking Dead seasons? I can't. I can't rank the Walking Dead seasons because I haven't seen all of them. I have seen the first 2 seasons, and then I've seen some of the 3rd season, and then I haven't finished. And a couple of reasons for that. I love the first season. I've seen the first season with the 6 episodes. I pre-ordered the season on iTunes. It's like the only time I've ever done that was for that first season of Walking Dead. Loved it. And then the second season, I didn't hate it, but it was definitely felt stretched out while they're at this farm and wasn't moving quick enough for me. And then the 3rd season, my wife had a baby. My wife doesn't like zombie stuff in general, wasn't watching it with me. And so I just fell behind. I just couldn't keep up with it because I'd had to watch it when she wasn't around and things like that. So fell behind. And then everything I heard from people it's just kind of the same thing. They go somewhere, they think it's safe. Turns out the humans are worse than the zombies. So they go somewhere else, so they think they're safe. They discover the humans are more dangerous than the zombies. So I can't rank them because I've only seen the first season, which is only 6 episodes, 2nd season, and then part of the 3rd. All right, real quick, we got Rich Review says, also a super chat, thank you. Thoughts on a movie adaptation of Nickelodeon show, Are You Afraid of the Dark? That is an original idea. I don't always get those types of projects where they're like, let's do an adaptation of this 20-year-old show. I didn't watch Are You Afraid of the Dark? I think I'm a little bit too old for it. And then especially when I think it's an anthology series, just kind of telling different scary stories. When you take an anthology story and then try and make it a standalone full-length movie, why don't you just make a standalone movie? Like, I don't understand what you're doing if you do that. That could be my misunderstanding of what the show is, but so I've always been found some of those things a little bit odd to try. Like they did Twilight Zone the movie back in the 80s, and so they just adapted 4 segments into. I mean, it just seems like an odd direction to go. I don't understand movies because they're not really a movie. We'll go through some of these quick ones. Wahab talks about movies. What's your favorite movie? I don't really have a favorite movie. I don't pick favorites, actually. I'm not very good at picking favorites. Because of this channel, because people ask, I have to try. So when I did a video, I had my 10 favorites. It was all nostalgia picks. So it's really safe. Very generic. So you got like Terminator 2, Die Hard, the original Star Wars trilogy, Indiana Jones trilogy, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, things like that. Really super safe. But I don't really have the favorite movie that's my one movie, like at all. It just jumped on me. Ulysses Araga Jermilo, have you read or seen the book The Outsiders? No, I haven't read it or seen it, so I had no knowledge on either one. Someone says, have I ranked the South Park seasons? No, I haven't watched them. I've only watched one episode of South Park ever for no particular reason. I've enjoyed the episode I did see, but that's all I got. Ben Skolik says, have you played the new Spider-Man game? Yes, I've got, I think, over 60-65% completion on the game. Really love it. Have a ton of fun with it. I mean, just amazing what they're able to do with it. I've heard some people complain or mention that it's very reminiscent of Batman Arkham, which it is, and I think that's a good thing. It's a better version of Batman Arkham, building off of what worked on that one, several new years of invention. Plus, Spider-Man works great with just kind of swinging between buildings, building off that Arkham engine. So I think it's just a really great game. I might have a review for it next week, maybe this weekend. Once I finish the actual story mode, I plan on doing a review if things work out. Varen Saxon says, do you watch Parks and Rec? Yes. I'm actually currently watching through it. I'm on the next to last season in order to rank the seasons, which will probably happen in October. Can't guarantee that. Working on it. That is a show I have watched before, and I'm currently watching for the purpose of doing what you're talking about. Henry Cassidy, what do you think DCU will become? I have no clue what to make of the DCEU. I literally have no clue at all. I have no clue what to make of it because it just seems so random what they're greenlighting, what they're valuing, what they're not doing, and just the number of leaks that are taking place, the way they're dealing with leaks, all of it. It just feels like an organization that's not organized. It just feels like chaos. Feels like they're ADHD. They just can't focus on anything. They're just looking all around. Oh, that's a cool idea. Well, let's do that one too. And it feels like they want an interesting take rather than playing it safe. And there's something commendable about wanting to do interesting takes or trying to not play it safe. And then there's a side to it where you go, yeah, but like, just give us a movie. We like Batman because of the comic book character, this guy that he's been established over. You don't need to reinvent him as the Punisher. Like, you don't have to deconstruct Superman and have him saving people while depressed. You don't have to do all these things. And so there's just a number of things like that just strike me as very odd in what they're trying to do. So I don't know what to make of the DCEU. All right, got some super chats. In your interview says he's got less than 100 views away from getting 20,000 views. Hope you can check out some of my latest. Absolutely, Rich. I can check out your channel later. Been pretty busy with the new baby, but I can definitely look into that. Thank you for the super chat. Jacob Silver says, rank Steven Spielberg movies. So I've said it before. Steven Spielberg is probably my favorite director. I don't like to pick favorites generally, but he's got so many top-level movies for me. I'm pretty sure he's my favorite director of all time. But he's got like over 30 movies. So I don't think I'd ever be able to rank all of his movies because I'd have to rewatch all of them. Because I don't just kind of haphazardly rank them based off of, oh yeah, I saw Hook back in 1998, so I'll rank it now. No, I rewatched them. I need to have watched it recent enough that I was thinking about it as a movie critic, as a reviewer, to make mental notes as to what I think about it, not old emotional memory. So I don't know that I could ever do all of them. I have done a video where I did like my top 5 Steven Spielberg movies. And I don't remember what it was. It's really tough to rank Steven Spielberg movies because I think that he has the best adventure movie of all time. He's got a great just tragedy, historic drama in Schindler's List. Great sci-fi thriller in Jurassic Park. Great just thriller in general with Jaws. Like, you can go down the Steven Spielberg list, and there's so many amazing movies in here where, to me, like Minority Report and that later stuff and Catch Me If You Can, that's like second tier Steven Spielberg for me. And those are great movies. For any other director, those are like amazing movies for them. But that's like second tier for me. So I don't think I could ever rank them entirely. But I've done a video where I did my top 5 or so. If you do Sean Chandler, Steven Spielberg, it should come up. But it's something. I love the 80s, that early era, Jaws to through Saving Private Ryan, just an incredible run for Steven Spielberg. Okay, some questions. Let me see if I can read some of the... Gamer Girl says, will you be including From Dusk Till Dawn in your ranking of the Tarantino movies? So there's an assumption built into that I'm ranking the Tarantino movies. I'm working on ranking the Tarantino movies. I watched all the way through Kill Bill, or through Death Proof, and I got held up because I need to really see, like, you have to sit down and intensely watch Inglourious Bastards. And, well, I mean, all of his last 3 ones, you got to really sit down and block out some time to watch this. So whenever I can, when my wife's not either super pregnant or now with a baby that I just haven't had the time to do it, I plan on doing that. Will I include From Dusk Till Dawn in that list? What she's referring to is that he wrote the script for it. And I do not plan on including that movie in the list. I also wouldn't include Natural Born Killers or True Romance, other movies that he wrote the script for, simply because they're not... A Tarantino movie is one that he wrote, he directed it. And that's kind of... might kind of take on it. Ritzis Vadum says, what's your opinion on Alien vs. Predator Requiem? So I talked about this in my Predator ranking just last week. So if you want my full, it's not really my full thoughts, but some of my longer thoughts on it. I think Aliens vs. Predator Requiem is a terrible movie. It just simply by turning the lights up, the movie is literally twice as good. Maybe 3 times as good. The movie's so dark you can't see the stuff that's like the hook for the movie that you want to see these aliens battling, and it just kind of kills even the schlock value of it. So it's literally a movie that's not very watchable because it's so dark and the way they've lit the film that it kills it. Someone asked, do I watch anime? No, I've never really been an anime person, unfortunately. That's never been my thing. I've seen some things, but I haven't watched enough to have a strong opinion on them. Rich Reviews has another super chat. Says, went to see Dazed and Confused at the Alamo Tuesday night. Every time McConaughey was on screen, everyone clapped and cheered. I'd imagine people do enjoy Matthew McConaughey. He lives here in Austin where I live, and so he's kind of like a local. Well, obviously, he's not just a local hero. He's obviously a national celebrity. But because he's an actual Longhorn, goes to UT games, like he has like this very local feel to him while being the actual celebrity that he is. Giuseppe De Rosa says, love your videos as a super chat. Thank you so much. I greatly, greatly appreciate it and love you guys, all of you guys for watching, actually caring what I have to say about things. And Matthew Vanderspeak, also with the super chat. Thank you so much. Says, favorite movie trailer. The Man of Steel ones were pretty great. The Phantom Menace was very special kind of trailer. Back in the day, I remember the Men in Black one having it's the clip from deep in the third act of the movie of the ship crashing and everything, but it was just like such an impactful one that I just loved that one. Yeah, so those are ones that immediate kind of come to mind real quick. Albus Dumbledore. Wow, Albus Dumbledore's in here. Do you plan on doing Wizarding World films? So he's asking, do I plan on reviewing the Harry Potter movies as well as Fantastic Beasts leading up to Fantastic Beasts 2? Yes, I've already watched Philosopher's Stone or Sorcerer's Stone. Already watched it. I was supposed to post that video this week, but new baby, that got delayed. Next week, I'm going to start going through the Harry Potter movies leading up to Fantastic Beasts 2. That is my plan. That is what's going to happen. JMS, how old are you? I am 36, turned 37 in 2 months. Yeah, so I am old. Skylar Rudd, have you played the new Spider-Man game? I've already talked about that. Yes, I've played it. Probably will do a review. People are asking about Iron Fist Season 2 and Marvel Netflix and re-ranking them. I'm going to do that. I have a new baby, so I haven't been able to binge watch through Iron Fist Season 2, and so that's going to be after Daredevil. And it's also, Daredevil's in a month from now. It's literally a month from now. So if I were to have ranked them right now, I'd be just updating it in a month, which is, even for me, that sometimes repeats these videos and updates them too much. I would say I update some of them too much. 1 month afterwards is way too soon to have two videos that are identical. I've seen a lot of questions kind of about real specific movies. Those can be a little bit tricky for me to like review a movie that I haven't watched recently. All right, what do I got? Jake Furstenberg. If you could direct a movie, what type of movie? I think if I were to direct a movie, and that was a super chat, so thank you. If I were to do a movie, I don't think I'd want to do a franchise. Like I wouldn't want to do a Star Wars movie, or I wouldn't want to do a Marvel movie or something like that. Even though I love those movies, the bigness of those and the blockbusterness of them, that doesn't seem like something that would appeal to me. I'd want to do something smaller. Like I like just direct, straightforward action movies. I really like the movie You're Next that came out, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Like I saw the movie You're Next and I was like, this is the type of movie I would make. Like I don't think it's like the greatest movie ever, but it's a movie that I went, this is a type of story I would have fun telling. I would have fun kind of crafting the little details of this. So I think kind of smaller action type things. I've had thoughts about writing a script that's a little bit kind of, I know it's kind of like an blending of action movies with like a slasher film or something like that. Some just simpler that could be done with excellence, or that I could try and do with excellence is something that I would want to try and do. All right, what questions do we have in here? A lot of people asking about like Avengers 4 predictions. I think next week I'm going to do a Avengers predictions video. I think I'm going to have my buddy Andy join me because he knows the comics, so we can add a little bit more of the comic book flavor. I think in the next couple weeks I'm going to finally do an Avengers first round because there's a lot. Once we get a next trailer, I'm going to have more thoughts. Once we get a title, I'm going to have lots of predictions on Avengers 4. But I think I'm going to do an early first round initial predictions very soon with my buddy Andy, who can bring some more comic book knowledge into the mix. Someone, General Kenobi, which is your best collab ever with Webhead or with Andy King? I would never pick between people that I actually know. That wouldn't earn me any good credibility with people that I want to have good rapport with all of them. So it was a ton of fun to work with Andy, Andy's actually one of my former students and was one of my interns back in 2012, so 6 years ago. And then working with Webhead, it was fun to work with someone else on YouTube that has also been very successful kind of at the same time as me. So it's all fun in different sorts of ways, but it's just fun to talk movies with people that have different perspectives, whether I know them in real life, whether it's doing video chats and things like that. It's all just a little bit exciting. Lots of questions I'm having trouble reading. Connor Irick Vlog says, "What's your favorite Sting movie? What's your favorite Stephen King movie?" I'd probably go It. I'd probably. He's done a lot of them that just weren't very good. Most people go with The Shining. That's kind of I've never been a big Shining fan. I can respect it. I mean, it's someone like, "Well, what about this one?" And they'll tell me 50 reasons why Kubrick's a genius, and if I would do my scoring with the letter, I mean, to get a great letter, the number wouldn't be as high though. My level of enjoyment, it's just not. I'm not wired that way to be like, "Oh wow, this is crazy, so crazy." I'm just not like that. The stuff that makes other people love Kubrick makes me go, I guess you guys are all smarter than me. This is not my thing. And that's why people ask me about Kubrick and ranking them all the time on my channel. And I'm very nervous to do it for the simple fact of the matter, I'm not that guy. I'm not wired that way. I'm a simpleton that, these Marvel movies, Iron Man punched a guy in the face, that was awesome, and stuff like that. I just told you I wanted to write and direct a movie that's this action movie except a slasher movie. Pretty simple stuff and kind of the way I do some of these things. So I would probably just go with It. James Keenan says, "Do you know anything about the Escape from New York?" I think you're talking about the Escape from New York remake that they've been talking about for years. I would assume it's just in development hell. They first started talking about it, 10 years ago. And, I think they were talking to Gerard Butler and then a bunch of remakes of these 80s properties that are more kind of B-movie in the way they've kind of been remembered by time. And they didn't do great. And then Gerard Butler is kind of a box office draw, seems to have dwindled a little bit, so he's not quite the guy that's like, "Oh yeah, you got Gerard Butler doing this John Carpenter." I think it's dwindled, so it seems like it's just stuck in development hell and they don't know what to do with it. So I haven't heard anything in a long time, and I would have. I pay attention to stuff like that, so it just seems like it's stuck somewhere. Evan Garthier, what is your favorite Taco Bell movie? So if you're new and you don't know what he's talking about, I use this phrase Taco Bell movie. It's fast food, junk food movie. It's a movie that it's kind of, it's junk. It's not the best quality stuff, but you can eat it all the time. So I came up with it really talking about Fast and Furious movies as well as Jurassic World. That, hey, they're dumb, they're ridiculous, crazy, but they're so fun. They're so watchable for me. Fast and Furious movies, the more recent ones, are just so ludicrously over the top that they're fun for me to watch. And same with Jurassic World. So that's a Taco Bell movie to me. What's the best Taco Bell movie of all time? That's tricky. And I don't think I have a good answer, for the simple fact of the matter that as soon as something becomes the best Taco Bell movie, it almost feels like it scoots out of the Taco Bell category at a certain point in time. Because it's not just generically blockbusters. It's not just generically movies made to be enjoyable. It's a specific branch of kind of movies that kind of go ludicrous, and they're okay with that. Or at least for me, that's what they are. There's something fun about the absurdity of Chris Pratt on a motorcycle battling a genetically engineered monster dinosaur with velociraptors. There's just schlock value fun to that. But if you go, the original Jurassic Park is made to be entertainment as well, so it would transcend that Taco Bell category. So stuff for me to say. So the ones that come to mind are always going to be Fast Five and Jurassic World. So that's the best answer I got for you, though I didn't really answer your question. Go commit uninstall life says Silence of the Lambs or Seven. I would go Silence of the Lambs. I just love Silence of the Lambs. Seven, the David Fincher darkness has a nihilism and pessimism and to his movies that it doesn't always appeal to me. I can respect them and have had my times where I'm in the mood for them, but there's also a side to them that they don't resonate with me quite as well. And I always love kind of the mad genius, the Hannibal Lecter type characters, and so I always love Silence of the Lambs. And I've only had phases where I've been like, Seven, I just want to watch Seven all the time. Like, it hasn't been a long since I had kids. Like, I don't want to watch Seven ever because I don't want to bring a child into this dark world. I think Morgan Freeman says that, talks about that in the movie. And you have those actual thoughts when you watch movies like that. And stuff like this actually happens. And I brought 3 kids into this world. Yeah, a bunch of people keep asking me for Avengers 4 predictions. I told you I'm going to make a video in a couple weeks. I'm not going to talk about them here. All right, back in the Super Chats, I got another one from Rich Reviews. He says, your thoughts on the Bert and Ernie news? I think the Bert and Ernie news is that they, I think a cast member or someone that worked on the show confirmed that they were gay. I don't particularly like to comment on things like that just are it's not kind of my area of expertise to comment on. I haven't read any articles. I don't know any official about it. And the idea that staff members said this person's gay. What's your take on that? I don't want to take the bait. That seems like a weird thing. It's like, okay, why are we retroactively trying to talk about things like that? It's like an odd thing. Like, just even generally in concept, it seems like an odd thing to do that doesn't feel like just agendas and stuff that I don't like to play those games. Gamer Girl says, what was your high school nickname? I don't know. I was in ROTC, and so people called me by my last name a lot. I didn't have some sort of thing that was different from one of my main 2 names, but a ton of people called me Chandler for a long time, for years and years and years. Also, Friends came out when I was in middle school, and so then all of its heyday was, me through at middle school through college was the Friends era essentially, and then obviously it's gone on to be this continued icon that people love and still watch. So people love to say Chandler Bing around me too, so I get that a lot, and I always got that. But I didn't have like a specific one. It was really just all Chandler related stuff. Oh, Aowash, I have no clue how to say this. Aowash Shagan Kurosan says, Taika Waititi for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? I'm game. I'd be for it. If they announced Taika as the replacement on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, it makes the most sense to me that it wouldn't be the same. I mean, it's a guy that has a quirky sense of humor that did an ensemble film set in space, but not the same type of humor, so it wouldn't feel like it's just trying to copy James Gunn. So that would make sense to me. Random Guy says, what do you think the DCU can do to fix it? I don't think they can. I don't think that there is a fix at this point in time. Both for story reasons, direction reasons, and not like the directors, but as in broad sense of the direction they went with things. And then with the successes and failures they've had, and then with the crew issues they've had of Henry Cavill's probably out, Ben Affleck's probably out. You get so far down it to a path where there's no good options, where everything's kind of weird because it's like, all right, you can't kill Wonder Woman, or the franchise, because it's doing so well and it was so well received. So you got to do another one of those, and we've already got this Aquaman going down the path, but it really looks like we don't have Ben Affleck anymore. Henry Cavill might be out. So you've got a universe where your 2 marquee characters haven't been received universally particularly well, and the actors are probably out. What do you do with that? There's no obvious fix for that. There's only bad fixes and recasts in ways that are weird. So you could do a Flashpoint paradox deal and reshape the whole universe, and maybe there's a clever way to do that. But in general, I think they've run themselves into a really bad corner. The best option is rebooted after Wonder Woman 2. maybe even bring Gal Gadot back and try and kind of continue it. Kind of maybe that the best answers to X-Men franchising, which is to say, yeah, we don't care about continuity. Logan's in a bunch of these, but Sabretooth is two different people. We got two different Jean Greys, and the timelines don't line up at all. It just kind of happens. And then, we'll do Days of Future Past to kind of undo some of the stuff we really don't like. We'll do Phoenix again. That's probably your best bet if you want to kind of keep some of the momentum of Wonder Woman, but I don't think there's any good options. But I would guess the X-Men franchise version model would be their best bet to have any sort of success with it. Tyler Garcia, Jason Bourne or Mission Impossible? Mission Impossible. I just think that franchise is phenomenal, and I think there's some great ones. There's like 4 great ones in Mission Impossible. One really good, and then one not so great one in Mission Impossible. But it's like a great batting average. I mean, great batting average. Bourne, you got like 2 ones, and then 3 that are really good. But the first 2 Paul Greengrass ones blend together to me a little bit, and so they don't feel distinguished. Whereas the Mission Impossible ones all feel very distinct films. So I definitely go Mission Impossible. Jason Bourne's great. Ethan Hunt wins. Tom Cruise wins. Nicholas Santiago, have you seen Friday the 13th? Yeah, I've seen all of them, and I'll have a ranking next month. I'm watching through all of them to rank them, and I've seen all of them before, but I'm watching them again to rank them in October. And I'll have a bunch of horror rankings and scary movie rankings in October. Let's see. Questions. And some of your questions, it's not that they're bad questions, but I've already kind of made videos on them. So it's like, hey, what did you think about this Marvel movie? I've got so many. My thoughts on old Marvel or MCU movies. I've talked about all of them extensively, so I just don't want to kind of do that in here. Dr. X Henry, Avengers vs. X-Men movie? Maybe, if there's a way to do it. If there's a plot line, like Civil War was a plot line that I thought that worked, and I think there's some ways to potentially have some reasonable conflict. But just arbitrarily having them battle each other doesn't sound like a great idea. Like, it's in the universe of the two of them, it's hard to come up with a reason that they're actually duking it out in a way that where you feel the stakes of it. Because even in Civil War, the stakes at the core of them didn't feel like they're trying to kill each other. And even when Rhodey gets hurt, it's like an oopsie. So I'm not crazy about a X-Men Avengers versus each other movie. Team up movie to battle Galactus or something like that. I'm on board. Let's make that phase 4. Team Skywalker, did I like Solo? Yes, I've got reviews about it. You can check that out. My full thoughts are out there. Yeah, like a bunch of these questions, like how was Peppermint and other things like that. I've made videos about them, so I don't want to like talk about something I've already made a video about. So someone keeps asking, do I like the band Journey? Yeah, there's 3 songs of theirs I know, and I like the 3 songs that I know. I never pop in Journey albums though, but they're big hits. Like everyone else, I enjoy singing along to their greatest hits and everything. Once again, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but Auschwigian Kursagian. What makes you so positive? It's ironic. I'm not really nearly as positive as I come off on here. Some of it's intentional. The nature of what I want my channel to be, the discussions to be, and the discussions I don't want to have, kind of make me come off more positive than I am. And some of it's my presentation style is that I come from public speaking, so I come from moving my hands around a lot and trying to be energetic. That comes from doing a 10, 12, 13 years worth of public speaking before I started this channel and having a certain way that I communicate with them. And then as I started, I had some more rant type stuff and angry things at the beginning, but I just didn't like being that person. Like I don't like the conversation it brings about. I don't like the cynicism of it. And then as I've gotten older, I've gotten a lot more, I've gone through different phases of liking movies. So when I was 20 years old, I loved indie films and and I had cynicism towards bigger movies. And then as I got older, I started to enjoy entertainment blockbusters again. And so I get comments from time to time from people kind of criticizing me for focusing too much on Marvel movies and things like that, and not digging into indie films or Oscar films enough. And it's a fair criticism, but it's just not what I've done. It's not the conversation I want to have. I don't feel as good at having that conversation. I don't feel qualified at times, like talking about like great movies. I don't know how to so I talk about the things that I'm excited about, and I like that there's people that do talk about those movies and are good at talking about those movies, but that's not necessarily me, and maybe that's not you. And I enjoy the fact that you like movies that I don't like, and that we can talk about our differences, and you can explain Oscar movies to me, or maybe I can explain Marvel movies to you. And I just enjoy the variety. I enjoy the diversity. I enjoy different people's opinions. In real life, I'm probably a lot more cynical, pessimistic, negative, critical, and all kinds of other things that would not incline one to talk about me being positive. Hilarious question in here. Hilarious question in here from... where was I lost it? Someone was asking inappropriate questions, and I was going to have fun with it. Someone was asking, like, how do we know that you're not a virgin? It's like, probably because I have my baby in this video. It's like people are trying to troll, but they're not very good at it. And they're trying to be awkward and see if I'll talk about things while just making themselves look very foolish. You look like a moron when someone holds up their baby and then you ask them, are you a virgin? You look stupid when you do that. Even if you're just trying to troll, you kind of embarrass yourself. All right, we got some new questions, I think. Yeah, people keep asking me about Spider-Man 4. I've talked about it already in here. Jeffrey Plumley says, would you do a ranking of all the Disney movies? Just animated Disney movies, there's over 50. So I don't know if I'll ever do that because I'll never watch all 50 of them. And I'd have to watch all 50 of them. And then to make that video, even if I only talk about each movie for 30 seconds, the video's 30 minutes long. So it's really, really hard. And it's one video that to justify, like it's 100 hours to watch. And then to make the list, this is an enormous project to do it. So that's where people ask me, like, hey, can you rank all the Marvel movies? Can you rank all the... And you go, wait, I have to watch all those movies. And when you're talking about 50 hours, 100 hours to make one video, hard to justify that. Kind of more people asking questions about things like if you start asking about movies I've made videos about with like Lord of the Rings or reviewing Marvel movies or Captain Marvel, I've already made videos about all this stuff, so I just can't keep answering the same things. Brian Newsom, sorry for the delay in trying to find the questions. Newsom Bomb, would you ever compete in the Schmodown? If they invited me to compete on the Schmodown, I would go and buy a ticket and fly out there. I would have a ton of fun doing that. Hopefully I would. It is certainly, I would say yes to it. If you guys want to tweet them my name, I'll take off the work. I will do whatever I need to do to if they were to ask me to do that. I just don't know if that would ever happen, but I'm totally open to it if you want to message them about making that happen. Oh, here's a fun one. AJ Daniels, Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 2? Superman 2 or Spider-Man 2? I got to go with my nostalgia, and my nostalgia is Superman 2. I think Superman 2 is a great movie. It's old, and I understand if younger people that didn't grow up watching it watch it now, and they're like, what? There's guys on wires? This looks ridiculous. Totally understand. But to me, that's my childhood. I have got to go with Spider-Man 2 is great. So it's not like, oh, this one's awesome, the other one's crap. No, it's like two amazing movies. My nostalgia goes to Superman 2. I just had a big jump on me. Random guy says, do you think about making a new channel, like maybe a channel on comic movies or maybe even gaming? I don't have time. I don't have time to make, I have a second channel for vlogging and I don't even have enough time to do that one. So if I go full time, I might have more channels. There's a lot of things I might do if when I go full time, but it's just really difficult to, especially like when my channel was smaller and I had 2,000 subscribers and 200 people, if I was lucky, 200 people would watch a video. I didn't have to worry about the quality of it. Like it's like, all right, not a lot of people are watching this. I'll just put my ideas out there, kind of like this. I hit record and I can just talk. When you have 60,000 subscribers, it's bad if my quality's. I don't want to put crap out when I know thousands of people will watch it. I mean, everything I put out, this stream right here, in the end, it'll have 4,000 views or something like that. And when that's the case, it's just, I have to put a lot more time into it. And I have to keep improving my editing. And so it just means I can't just kind of crank out things in multiple channels to talk about a bunch of different things. And like talking about comic books in particular, diving in deeper when it gets more niche, you have to spend more time on it. Like to do that Captain Marvel video I did yesterday, we had to fact check it. We had to look things up. I had to look up graphics. And so it takes longer. To review a video game, it takes way longer than to review a movie. To review a movie, it's 2 hours to review it, take some notes, 30 minutes to film it, a little bit to edit it, done. Boom. I've been playing this Spider-Man game for 2 weeks. And anytime I have free time, I'm playing it. I'm having my son play it to fill some of the stuff out. And I haven't finished the game yet. And so adding a second channel just means it's more time consuming. It would be less videos on this channel. So I think about it all the time. It's just not going to happen. Caleb Fleming, favorite NFL team. Both my parents are from Denver. And so by law, Chandler family law, I got to go with the Broncos. It's Broncos. They would disown me if I went with anyone other than the Broncos. It's just that simple. All right. We got another super chat from Rich Reviews. Sean Chandler 2020. We need common sense to come back. Oh, man. I would hate being in politics. Because you can't get things done. And that's inherent into the system that it's supposed to have checks and balances. It's not supposed to be easy to get things done. But the part that just drives me crazy when when people just are so on their teams and everything, and they just see it, everything on the other team is just cynical. Anything bad on your side, they're very gracious and understanding and explanations of why something happened. And it just drives me insane. So I would be horrible in politics. I'm also just even my nature of like doing these rankings and my opinions change on things. And then, like I enjoy seeing your different rankings. I'm very fluid in my thoughts. That doesn't work well in these highly divisive times where you're on this team or this team. Like, no, common sense means, hey, let's listen to both sides and work together. And like, I don't agree with you on everything, but let's find that middle spot to where we're both a little bit happy and we actually make progress towards something. And I would hate politics being in it. Rocket Boom 101. I think you keep asking thoughts on Ant-Man prequels. I don't think there's a rumor for that or anything like that. If there was a way for them to do a Michael Douglas de-aged with Michelle Pfeiffer de-aged Ant-Man movie, there's not. Those movies don't make enough money to justify the budget to de-age them throughout the whole movie. If there was a way to do that, I would be 1,000% on board. I would love to see a 70s or 80s set, 60s, whatever decade it would be set, period piece, Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas Ant-Man movie. I would love that. That of the things they could potentially announce, I would be so on board to see that. That just sounds awesome to me, to do something like that. On many different levels, both just because it's seeing something with Michael Douglas. I enjoy the Ant-Man franchise, and then the period piece side to seeing that different era. That would be so on board with that. I would love that. But you can't de-age them for a full movie yet. The technology, budget-wise, isn't there to the full spectrum of motions that people do. They couldn't do it. All right, questions. Special Talks. Hey, you friended me on Facebook recently. Hey, buddy. Do you follow European soccer? If so, who do you support? I don't follow soccer at all. That's one of the ones that I don't have any thoughts on. So unfortunately, I can't elaborate on that one at all. Sarah Rodriguez, are you caught up on Gotham? So I've said this many times. People ask me to rank the Gotham seasons, and there's two problems with that. number one, the most practical one, I'm not caught up yet. I'm behind. So to answer your simple question, no, I'm not caught up. Second one is I haven't had a strong enough opinion on them. They all kind of feel in the same kind of frustrating middle ground to me. I heard some people say the third season it got a lot better, and when Jerome got mixed into it, got better. And it's always just kind of felt in the same sort of frustrating spot for me to where I can't fully engage with it. So I haven't caught up for a ton of reasons. Pregnant wife, my channel taking off, so all sorts of other things that's putting a lot of time into my channel. But no, I haven't. I still intend to, but I just haven't. And then it makes it tricky. I just got DC Universe, their new deal, and there's so much stuff in there that I want to check out and watch. And so catching up on Gotham gets even trickier because of that. All right. Oh, Gamer Girl says, wait, we can friend you on Facebook? Maybe I've said too much. Yeah, people friend me on Facebook very frequently. Anakin 203. Sean, what's your favorite poster that you own, and can you show us? I don't think I can show you, but it's not anything interesting. My favorite poster that I own is probably my wife. I mean, I think maybe the first one when we were first married. I don't remember exactly when this happened, but I think at some point in time, basically she ordered me a full set of full-size Superman posters for one of the releases. They had some sale on Superman, the movie, through Superman Returns. The full-size posters, all 5 of them. And so that's my favorites, all of those ones that I own. So I used to have them. I need to get new cases for them so I can have them actually in the wall in this room right here. They wouldn't fit up here because they're too. These are like half size, third size actual movie posters, whereas they would be way too big. I mean, these are about that big. But so yeah. Elias Ham says, are you going to rank the Quentin Tarantino movies? I'm working on it. I've made it through Death Proof. Just got 3 more to watch. It's just taking time. Static Sound. Do you think that season 10 of The Office should happen? How would you do the first episode? No, I don't think a 10th season should happen at all. Not a good idea. I probably don't want any more of The Office. If they were to do what they did with the British Office, which is kind of like a Christmas special, like let's catch up on where the people are at, I'd be a little interested. But for the most part, I don't think it doesn't seem like something that's a good idea to go back to. I don't think it'll work. There's a really bad track record of these kind of let's go back to this show type deals. And then just where The Office kind of ended up towards the last few seasons, I don't want to see more of that. I don't need to they're not going to, I don't think they can touch into the emotions that made me love the early seasons, and they weren't able to on the initial run in the later seasons. So it doesn't appeal to me much at all. James Keenan, here's an interesting one. Halloween, you looking forward to it? Yes, absolutely. I did a video talking about my most anticipated of the fall. It's in my top 10. But funny you should ask that question. So starting tonight is Fantastic Fest here in Austin. I went last year, had kind of a weird experience. I was excited to go back. Now I know a little bit better what to expect. A little bit more prominence as a YouTuber, so I probably might have even run into some people I might have known there, known who I am, or I had a little bit more boldness to talk to some of the famous critic people are there, like Clark Wolf from Collider. She's there. I saw her there last year, watched the movie Thoroughbreds with her. She was seated right behind me, did one of these creepy pictures like this. I'm taking a selfie, but actually it's Clark Wolf behind me. But so, I probably would have talked to her this year a little bit. I'm actually shy, so I probably still wouldn't have. But Halloween is playing at it tonight. I think 2 hours from now, it's playing. But because I got a newborn, because I took a week off of work, I just couldn't justify the expense. So had I gone back to this film festival that I was planning on going to it January 1st, but by January 10th, I found out my wife was pregnant. And then as it turned out, new baby arrived literally 8 days before Fantastic Fest. So there's no way to do it that would be responsible for taking time off from work, as well as not being a horrible father, not being a horrible husband, and abandoning my wife with 3 kids, and one of them being 8 days old. So Halloween, very excited. I almost changed my mind because when they announced Halloween was going to be there, and Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be at the showing too. Almost changed my mind, but I was like, no, I got to be a good person. I'm not just a good YouTuber person doing things for my channel that loves movies. Got to think about my family too. Throgmouth says, is there any TV show you love besides Batman the Animated Series, Star Trek, and The Office that I love? I love 24. So that's the most of the ones you listed off are kind of the ones that I've talked about before. But 24 is another one that I just love that would throw in there real quick. Really enjoying This Is Us. I don't talk about it a lot on here because it's just a different type of show that I don't even know how I would evaluate it. Like, yeah, I don't cry, but I almost cried. I don't know what I don't know even how I would evaluate a show like that. So I barely don't talk about it much other than when people ask questions like this in Q&As. Breaking Bad was great. I loved the beginning of Dexter, the first 5 seasons. I loved the first 5 seasons of Dexter. So there's a number of them. Those ones that quickly come to mind. Alex Lightcap, are you going to watch season 5 of The Flash and season 7 of The Arrow? Yep, that's my plan. I'll probably do some reviews like the crossovers and first episodes, some stuff like that. Joseph Kent, have you seen any of the Marvel animated movies, Ultimate Avengers, Planet Hulk? I've seen the 2 Ultimate Avengers, and I've read those 2. I've read the comics, the graphic novels of Ultimate Avengers 1 and 2, and then I watched the movie. So it's kind of fun to watch their direct, not adaptations, translations directly to the screen. So I had fun with them enough. I didn't love them. I haven't watched them in a long time, but I enjoyed them when I did watch them. Oh, it's starting to rain outside. Matthew Bauer, what do you think of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise? If you're talking about in general, it's pretty hit or miss. If you're talking about the specific current one, very frustrating. The Michael Bay produced, he didn't direct them, but he's produced these last 2. They're very frustrating movies because they're almost what I want them to be. They're almost just kind of dumb blockbuster Ninja Turtle fun. But then there's so many just goofy ideas in there and things that, like, they made the Ninja Turtles too big and muscular. Therefore, Shredder can't just be a super ninja guy. He has to be a guy in a robot suit and things like that. And then, they have Casey Jones, but then they cast the right guy. They put Casey Jones. Awesome. Love Casey Jones. So much fun. It's like that 1990 movie. Love Casey Jones in that movie. His coat is. So they're going to put him in the movie, and they announced they're going to get the guy from Arrow, Stephen Amell, is going to be Casey Jones. Perfect casting. Love it. Big Stephen Amell fan. Want him to be successful. He's going to be in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. This is awesome. And then Casey Jones sucks in that movie. And it's not Stephen Amell at all. And it's, what they decided to do with the character is weird. Because he's not all the stuff that Stephen Amell is good for doing on Arrow, we'd be like, he's perfect to put him in as Casey Jones. It's not that. It's like this real soft personality that's kind of a loser kind of guy, sort of in a way. He only wears the hockey mask in one scene. It's just weird interpretation. So those are frustrating movies. And every time I put them on, I'm like, no, I'm just going to turn my brain off and enjoy it. And then I'm frustrated because I'm watching it being like, all you had to do was this, and the movie's 50% better. Just stop doing stupid ideas. Stop trying to outthink what you're doing. Oh, got a couple super chats come in. Nate Hayden just says, super chat, and just wanted to say, love your channel, man. Thanks so much. I greatly appreciate it. And as I said before, thank all you guys so much for watching. And in particular, Nate, thank you for supporting my channel. Rich Review says, thoughts on Designated Survivor being revived by Netflix. Is that a thing? I don't know if that's, I haven't heard an actual official announcement that Designated Survivor is being picked up by Netflix. If it is, I would love that. I had a big fan of Designated Survivor. It's a nice continuation, in my mind, a spiritual cousin to 24, because it's same kind of genre. And then the Jack Bauer gets to be the president. That's kind of fun. And so I would love to see it continued if it was on Netflix. I haven't heard anything official about that, though, so I don't know if that's actually happening. Eli 13, can you please have some sleep? I actually, right now, my sleep's actually not too bad. Right now, because I don't want to get too weird, but as of right now, all of the feeding of the baby in the middle of the night stuff, it's all my wife right now. For reasons I can't join in on that activity just yet. Probably soon I can, and then I'll stop getting sleep. But as of right now, basically since the baby's been born, I haven't had like terrible nights of sleep because there's certain things I good job, you guys. I couldn't really help with the process right now of keeping the baby fed, so I'm getting sleep. I'm getting my normal, not a ton of sleep because I tend to be kind of a workaholic type person, but I'm sleeping, so thanks for your concern. Someone asked me about professional wrestling. I don't follow it. I've never been a big fan. I don't dislike it. It's not like a negative thing. I've just never been in the circles that followed it. Like my family didn't watch it, and so I'd sometimes watch it. My mom would be like, that's fake and stuff like that. But that's not a very good impression of my mother at all. That's not at all how that conversation went down. I don't even know why I said that. So I've just never really followed it. And so if like my wife was really into it, or if my son really got into it, I'd be totally on board. If he was like, hey, let's watch, I'd join in. I'd be to do the whole shebang. But as of yet, it just hasn't been something I've gotten into. Revan Hefferman, what are your thoughts on the Spider-Man Raimi trilogy? I think there's a pretty special thing. The third one's I watched a week ago in the hospital with my kids when new baby arrived, and it's got some big issues. In general, I think Sam Raimi did something real special. They feel timeless because they have kind of this callback to like the way he designed them. They're very comic booky. They don't feel like MCU movies at all, but they don't feel like they feel distinctly like themselves. Raimi Spider-Man is what they feel like. So I think they're kind of a special thing, and they're obviously very important in the transition into the modern era of comic book movies. Sort of started with Blade, sort of started with X-Men, was definitively established by Spider-Man being a runaway success. And very important movies that I thoroughly enjoy, put on frequently, and I'm going to probably re-review them leading up to Spider-Man Homecoming 2 or Spider-Man Far From Home or whatever it's called. I'm pretty sure I'm going to review all the Spider-Mans leading up to it and show them to my kids. Oh, Eli Ren 13 says, you look tired, go sleep. Now, I can't do that. If I were to take a nap right now, it would throw my sleep off. That's part of the problem is what happens. So I walked in here and hit record right after I got home from work. So I came from carrying big buckets of paint out in the sun, changed clothes, walked up here and hit record. So if I look tired, it's because it's like I didn't eat anything. Normally, if I shoot a video that's going to be out there, like I'll like wash my face or take a shower. I'll do a bunch of things to kind of like brighten myself up. I'll drink some caffeine. I didn't do any of that before this one, and so I look tired because I'm just kind of weary from coming literally straight from work. Didn't do anything to try and not look tired. And there are times like if I need to shoot like a MCU ranking and right after I get off work, I'll put a face mask on with the ice and everything to ice down my eyes and everything. I'll literally do everything I can to not look nearly as tired as I look right now if I have to. But yeah, right now I am just coming in off of work. Big Batman big fan. I am going to go. You didn't answer any of my questions. I'm the biggest fan from Kuwait. Sorry that I didn't answer any of your questions. I'm literally trying to read as fast as I go. Sometimes questions, I read them, and I just don't have an answer, or I've already read them, so very sorry about that. But thank you, sir, for tuning in for as long as you did. I do my best, but there's even right now, there's only 133 people in here. There was 200 people in here, so there's a lot of questions coming to mind. Bear F says, this is Super Chat, thank you so much. Thoughts on Space Jam 2? I don't know, because they keep... I'm sorry. If you talk for an hour straight, eventually you lose the ability to talk. And I forgot to drink anything. Because it's been like one of these movies that they've been talking about for 10 years. We're going to get LeBron James. We're really going to get LeBron James. And so it seems like the type of movie that it's it's worthy of a remake or a reinvention every 10 years. And that's not, I'm not nostalgic to the original one or anything like that. It's not like one of those movies that I grew up with or means a ton to me. Just the concept of it, of let's take Looney Tunes and a modern sports person, and let's take this one off. You can do football, you can do soccer, you can do a ton of fun stuff with this, and you just take who's ever a great athlete right now that's a personality that lends themselves to being with the Looney Tunes playing their sport, and you can make a whole franchise out of that. I mean, there's no reason to overthink it. Play it safe. Do safe kind of humor and just make a fun movie. You don't have to try and knock it out. Like, it doesn't have to be the greatest Looney Tunes crossover sports movie ever. Just have fun with it. So it's funny to me that it's taking so long to get this LeBron James Space Jam 2 movie made. David Cross, have you watched the X-Files? I've watched all the X-Files except this 2018 season. I haven't watched the one they did this. I even meant to. I was going to watch it. I was going to review it for my channel. I was going to do the whole everything for it, and then I don't know what happened. I don't even know why I didn't watch it. But I think I got sick with the flu, and then I found out my wife was pregnant. I think there was a couple things that happened that it just kind of fell off my front burner. So I've watched all of it except that. So obviously I'm a fan, especially the first five or so seasons that I thought were real special, real neat show. Herb Renai's Guardian, can you give your opinion on Blade Runner? Yeah, it's not a movie for me. I like Blade Runner 2049 a lot better. I thought it did what Blade Runner was trying to do, touched on the themes. Sorry about that. Touched on the type of storytelling that I enjoy. The original Blade Runner is a little bit too weird in ways that were just kind of like, why are we doing this? What's going on? Too poetic. I'm not a poetic person, really, and there are things about Rutger Hauer's final scene in the movie just weirdly poetic. That I'm not like that. I'm not wired that way. So I like 2049 a good bit more. I don't understand people that think Blade Runner is the greatest sci-fi movie of all time. I don't know what they're seeing there. I don't see it. I see it a little bit more with 2049. Ashwi Kashgardian, are you vegetarian? Not at all. I'm not a vegetarian. I eat a ton of meat, especially right now as I'm trying to put on weight. I'm just downing fish, chicken, steak, any dead animals. A lot of dead animals. Tried every night, and then tons of protein shakes too, which aren't dead animals, but still downing them a lot. Don't read my profile picture. Thoughts on canceled Spider-Man 4 or The Amazing Spider-Man 3? Actually, I had plans over the summer to do a video talking about canceled Spider-Man movies. And I'll still probably do it. I actually need to bring this idea back. But I did research to do canceled Batman movies, canceled Spider-Man movies. Even contacted someone to try and do a collaboration. Didn't go anywhere. Didn't get a response. And so I would like to do videos on canceled Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know why I'm repeating the titles on them. Specific thoughts on them. I think Raimi Spider-Man 4 probably, I don't know if it would have worked because Raimi seemed a little bit burned out on creative wise. He just was kind of repeating things, retouching on ideas. And I think if he'd been able to close out Spider-Man 3 without the studio interference, they wanted to put Venom in there. He didn't want to put Venom in there. Or if he'd been like, all right, we're doing Venom, therefore we're not doing some of this other stuff, he could have closed it out a little bit better in a way that, with the Harry stuff in the third act and kind of the reveals twist. That's a good bookend to close out a trilogy, but the movie itself had all these other directions, so it wasn't so great. And because they closed out some of those Harry storylines that ran all throughout all three movies, it seems really tough to make a fourth movie that feels like a proper closure in light of some of that. And maybe they would have had an idea. Amazing Spider-Man, I just think they were just off the rails. There was just so much studio interference on both those movies from the get-go. They wanted a Spider-Man movie by a deadline, and they didn't have a good idea on how to make it distinct. So they just did a slightly darker Spider-Man movie, and so then it didn't pique people's interest. They're like, let's put a bunch of characters. And it just wasn't it felt like a movie directed by a committee, and it kind of was. And that's a shame because I think Mark Webb is great with characters, great character interactions, and Andrew and Emma were great chemistry on screen. I'd love to see Mark Webb do a spiritual sequel to 500 Days of Summer with those two, just some sort of in their 30s romance dramedy type deal. All Things Comics says, "Hey Sean, what's your least favorite movie of the year?" I think Slender Man. Slender Man was really just, wow, this is so generic, modern day, cheap, bad horror movie. So Slender Man comes to mind. Deep Blue Sea 2, direct-to-video one with terrible. Escape Plan 2, direct-to-video, just a total waste of the cast. It had a cast that made me go, oh, we got Stallone and we got Batista. Oh, this should be pretty cool. And that's not really what it is. There a lot of these direct-to-video movies, they feel like they're written after they get the schedule of the people. They want to get Batista in the movie, and so they wait till they get him. All right, you can be here. What's your schedule? Okay, we got these 2 weeks. All right, we'll write our script around the schedules of all. And it just felt like that. You could just feel them writing around everyone's schedule. So we can only get to pay 50% of Batista's normal rate. So I don't like that stuff. People keep asking for the worst movie ever. I don't have one. Worst movies a lot. Best and worst, I don't like to. In the terms of movies, it's really difficult to. Movies are so different, and they can be the worst for so many different reasons. I don't really have a guess. Like The Room is a terrible movie, but it's an incredibly enjoyable movie. If I were to do my rating scale, The Room is like an F9, F10. It's something like that. Like that's why I have my rating scale, because like I watch The Room and I go, this is awful on a quality level. This is so watchable and quotable and funny and entertaining. That's why I have the two different ones. But then there's other movies that are just blockbusters that are very slickly made that are just devoid of any creativity. So I don't have anything that comes to mind. Greg Ong says, have you watched the first Purge? Yeah, I have a ranking of the Purge movies, so I talk about it in there. It's good. Yeah. Someone's asking me about my favorite soccer and basketball teams. I don't have favorite. I don't really watch either one of those, unfortunately, so I don't have a better opinion for you. Sorry about that. Matt Ascension, and I'm going to go for just like 10 more minutes or something like that. How do you feel about Henry Cavill leaving as Superman? I feel frustrated by it, if it's true, if it plays out. I mean, my guess on what's happening is that it's a negotiation tactic. He's annoyed that they're not moving forward. He is willing to play Superman again. He just wants to be compensated for it, especially if they're going to keep delaying doing Man of Steel 2. And there's not Justice League 2 on the foreseeable future. So it's like, hey, we want you to keep being Superman. We just don't have a movie for you. And I imagine if you're Henry Cavill, he was hired for the movie, I think in 2011, like 7 years ago. So he was hired for it when he was in his late 20s. He's now in his mid 30s. And you want to move on. You want to kind of keep doing things. And it's like they're dragging their feet. They're like, let's do a Supergirl movie. Let's do a Batgirl movie. Let's do Suicide Squad. I mean, let's do a Joker movie. And he's like, I'm Superman. Why aren't we doing Superman? I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here. And if they'll pay him the money, he's like, okay, I'll stick around and do another one if you're going to give me the money I want. But since they're not doing that, he's kind of like, all right, let's... I imagine he probably is the one that kind of leaked this story, kind of how it got out there is my guess. What are my thoughts on it? It's the whole thing's disappointing that they've botched the DCEU. I don't understand why they're announcing the movies they are announcing, and I don't understand why it's taking so long to get a script for the Batman. I don't understand any of these things. I don't understand why they can't make an announcement. And Matt Reeves comes up to a podium, Ben Affleck is next to him. We're doing the Batman. Cut the rumors. And Ben Affleck goes, I am Batman. I am working with this man. I've read his script. I love it. Or why don't they have Matt Reeves walk up there and say, It's not going to. We're going in a different direction. I loved Ben Affleck. We talked about Ben Affleck coming back. There just wasn't a way to make it work, so we are going to get someone new. Just announce that. Why are we playing this game for so long? And just crap like this that makes. I'm sure if you're Henry Cavill and you're like, all right, they're not announcing Man of Steel 2. We can't even. I don't even know Ben Affleck, so I don't know what's going on with him. I'm just tired of this the shenanigans, and it's not great. I'm sure it's frustrating to be this now A-list movie star that he goes out to do interviews for Mission Impossible, and everyone wants to talk to him about his mustache because they botched it on Justice League. And there's all these things that are probably very frustrating about being a part of the DCEU when they just keep shooting themselves in the feet. So, many thoughts. Crypto34. What are your opinion on 4 Avatar sequels? I think it's crazy that they're doing 4 Avatar sequels that don't even start to come out until 10 years after the first one. It's bonkers. I don't get it. I think they've lost their mind what they're trying to do. Especially the way they've talked about it, the way it was delayed, the way it was like, I got to write all 4 scripts together. That stuff doesn't tend to go well. Even when it was like, let's do 2 Matrix movies together. Let's do 2 Pirates movies together. Whenever directors get that ambitious, it tends to go bad. So I'm very nervous about it. I think Avatar's one of James Cameron's worst movies, if not his worst movie besides his Piranha movie. And so I wasn't like, let's do more of these. I'm resentful of the fact that Avatar stole James Cameron from us in the last 20 years. So if you are in high school, really, if you're in college, in your lifetime, James Cameron has put out 1 movie. Mind blowing. That's just crazy to me. This guy should be an all-time great with this enormous catalog of movies because he'd put out a movie every 3 years. Even if he put out a movie every 5 years, he would have put out 4 or 5 movies. No, he's put out 1. And it drives me nuts. And that his next 4 movies are Avatar movies. I get mad even asking, why is this a thing? People keep asking me about Spider-Man PlayStation 4 constantly. Yes, I own it. I've been playing through it. I'm at about 65% through it. I'll probably do a review. All right. People ask me, do I watch Nostalgia Critic? No, I don't know if I've ever watched a full video of Nostalgia Critic. I probably should, since obviously such a prominent channel. I probably should watch one. And then someone asks, have I watched Chris Stuckman? Yeah, I watched a ton of Chris Stuckman. Him and Jeremy Johns, I've watched an enormous amount of their stuff. I used to watch all their stuff before I had my own channel. Can't follow everything like I used to. Watch a ton of John Campea as well. Loved his movie talk back in the day when he was on it. I haven't watched a lot of Collider stuff over the last. I watched almost no Collider this year at all, almost none, for a number of different reasons. Leah Elkins, my 20th birthday's on Saturday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Elkins. Happy birthday to you. I hope I didn't pronounce that right. I'm reading and trying to sing at the same time, so I probably said something dumb. Noah plays games. Do you think Captain America will die in Avengers 4? Yes, but last time I predicted he was going to die in a movie, I was wrong. But yeah. Awesome, Lewis. Daredevil Season 3 thoughts. I watched the trailer, and the thing I saw was only 30 seconds long, so it's not really a trailer. It's more like a tease, so I don't have any thoughts. I mean, I love Daredevil. I actually put these up because I was going to do a trailer reaction to the trailer, and then the thing I saw wasn't a trailer, so I was like, I guess I'll delete this footage because this is not good quality content. So I don't have any thoughts because I haven't seen anything. A-Star asks if I can rank all of the Arrowverse shows. No, because I haven't watched all of Legends and Supergirl. Charles Young, will you rate the seasons of 24? No, because I already have. I've got a video up. Just search Sean Chandler 24 ranked or whatever, something like that. I ranked them after the last season ended, so it's an old video, so it's different quality, but I've already done it. Yeah, people keep asking me the same questions. Gamer Girl's getting mean in the comments. Mean. Criticizing my singing voice. It's on the fly. Mean-spirited. You're not going to get any fun stuff if you're mean like that. James Dunn, what's your gym routine? So I don't have one that's really locked in. A lot of it ties to my job, where because I pick things up, carry them for my job, I can't consistently be like, this day, I'm going to do certain things, because depending on my work, I can't go into my work with my legs shot. I can't go in. I just can't do that. So I have to sometimes have to wiggle some things around. And so I don't have a set lifting routine. But when I lift, I do compound lifts is my, right now, I'm just intentionally just doing compound lifts, multi-joint. I normally lift heavy and try and kind of increase strength is normally the direction that I go. And I tend to block it with chest, shoulder day, leg day, and then back and biceps is the way I would tend to block it. If I could do it right, I would do 3 days a week with those, probably 3 blocks, scattered with some abs in there. Pretty soon, and that's the general idea. And soon I'm probably going to start doing a lot better with cardio. I really need to start doing better with cardio. And I'm trying to cut weight soon. Or not cut weight, just get more, not just trying to gain muscle, but trying to be overall fitness. And so I'll probably work in bike riding into that. And I'll probably every day when I get off work, I'll ride my bike for like 20 minutes or something like that. So that's the general idea, is a lot of compound lifts. Jessica Marie, are you planning on putting up any vlogs soon? Yeah, I want to. It's just all a time thing. And I have a new baby, so you'd think I'd have a bunch of footage, but the baby doesn't do a bunch of interesting things yet. So I was like, oh yeah, this will be great. I can put some videos up on my vlog with the baby. It's just kind of the baby sitting there. It's that's kind of what the problem's been. I'm probably going to a Comic-Con this Saturday, probably, in which case I would film some stuff for that and do one. So yes, it's just all been a matter of, some of it's been overthinking too on my part. Of I wanted to start that channel so I wouldn't have to overthink editing, and then I started the channel, and I very quickly started overthinking and wanting to put more time into editing and things like that. So that's a lot of the problems I've run into. All right, I'll go just basically close out and just to take a few more questions real quick. Dante Futures says, how do you feel about Sony MCU? Are you talking about Venom? Because I don't know what Sony MCU is, because the MCU is specifically the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which comes under Marvel Studios, and then Sony has the rights to Spider-Man, and then they've cut a deal to allow Spider-Man to appear in the Marvel Cinematic Universe while it's Sony creating them, so it's kind of this merger type thing. I don't know, because I haven't seen Venom yet. I don't know if they are tying it in. I don't know if it's just a standalone thing. I just don't know. So I can't have thoughts until I've seen that movie, which I'm doing in 2 weeks. Zol's Crow. I'm botched this. Very, very sorry about that. Thoughts on the upcoming X-Men Dark Phoenix movie? I don't know, because I haven't seen a trailer yet. X-Men movies are just so hit or miss. They're all over the place. I'm feeling this one's probably not going to be great. Since they had to push back, that's not a great sign. They brought in the guy that's written a lot of these movies, but he doesn't have this long history of directing these movies, so that's not a great sign if there's some of these problems. So I'm pretty nervous about it. Got a question. Apple versus Samsung. Apple. I've got Apple. This is a MacBook. I'm kind of all in on the world of Apple products. Okay, I'll close out on this one big last one. And if I see some fancy ones to close out on, we'll see what we can do. Golden Light Pictures. How does your family feel about your channel? They've always been very supportive. From my wife, who's always told me I can do what I want. The only thing that she's really put the brakes on with my channel has been going full time, reasonably so. Going from a job that has benefits to a job that has no benefits, no set salary. She's obviously nervous about that, so she hasn't put the brakes on that one. But besides that, she's always let me go to the movies. She told me I could go to this film festival that starts tonight. We had a baby 8 days ago, and she told me I could go to it. I'm not, but she gave me the go-ahead, so she's always been very supportive. But then, my sister and mother, everybody's always been all on board. My kids get a kick out of it. They don't fully understand it in other sense, but like to them, they like YouTube is TV to them because they watch more YouTube than they never watch live broadcast television. They don't even understand the concept of what television is to most people. Television to them is Netflix and streaming movies that we have on Vudu and then YouTube. They don't know TV as anything else other than that. So they have an interesting perspective on what I do. So it's interesting. Benjamin Levine says, what's the most overrated Marvel movie? Oh, there's no way to say this one without getting in trouble. I would go Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier is great. I love Winter Soldier. I have it very highly ranked on my all of my rankings. Scored it great in my review of it. But I'm just not one of these people that's like, top 3 best movie. Like, I don't fully understand when people kind of give it that level of hype. I'm not quite sure where they're coming from. It's great. I have never been in the category that was just going bonkers over it, though. So I would go with that one. Jackson Porter Reviews. How'd you make your amazing title intro? There's really not much to it. It's just an overlay of kind of a film reel, which there's stock video places, there's free stuff on YouTube, there's all sorts of places you can find the stuff, and it's green screen footage of film stock, and then just with some basic transitions, clips from videos, and then just text on the screen. There's really nothing to it. It's very easy to create. It's not so much about great skill in editing so much as just having an idea for something that I haven't seen anything quite like that, so I just made a little change, and there it was. So Noah Plays Games, going back to the overrated movies. You say, I thought I would say Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. See, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, there's people, I would call that one divisive, is what I would call it. Is that there's people that love Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and then there's a bunch of people that don't love it. I don't see a lot of people, there's not like a big chunk of people saying it's the best. I've heard some people, but then again, I talk Marvel movies, and so I've seen every opinion, every crazy opinion, people that love Dark World. But I don't see, I see a lot of people that agree with me. A lot of people in the same camp as me. And so I don't think of it as overrated. I think it is divisive. And I'm frustrated by it because the people that do like it seem to be, they have been intolerant of me. I'll just phrase it that way. People have been very rude at times because I don't like a movie as much as them. And a movie that I want to like. It's not like I'm trying to dislike it. I'm not trying to hate anything. I just didn't like it the way they did, and they've been rude. So, most frustrating, but not most overrated. Okie dokie. I will close out on, someone asked about the Joker stuff. I'll close out my thoughts on this new Joaquin Phoenix Joker stuff. I don't understand the concept of the movie. So getting a picture of Joaquin Phoenix looking like crazy Joaquin Phoenix doesn't kind of excite me. I still don't know. Maybe when I see the trailer, I'll get it. Thus far, it's a symbol to me that I look at it and I go, why is DC doing this, but not Man of Steel 2? Why is this greenlit and shooting, but we're not even sure if Ben Affleck is in the Batman yet? Why is the Batman in Man of Steel taking so long? But we're working on this standalone Joker movie with the guy from The Hangover and Martin Scorsese working on it. Like, what? To me, it's a symbol of something that frustrates me. Sounds like it could turn out to be great with some of the talent working on it, and Joaquin Phoenix just doesn't do anything. So it could be great, but they're very confused as to where the direction that they're kind of going with it. So the pictures don't mean a whole lot to me at all. So anyway, we'll close out there, especially because people are causing trouble in the chat board. But someone asked, have I seen the Men in Black movies? Yeah, the first one's a classic. The other two are pretty mediocre in my mind. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. I'm going to try and do these live streams every week now. I'm going to try and come in with a live show on Wednesday is my plan, but life's crazy with a new baby, so it didn't even work out that way this week. So I'll be back next week if your question didn't get asked. And if you want your question to be asked, try and keep it short so I can actually read it. And then don't just ask like Avengers predictions or things like that are real super duper common that I'll probably do a video about it. Don't ask me to rank things, picking favorites. Like a nice question that's interesting. Like, we'll think about one that I'll be like, oh, that's a fun question, rather than just, what do you think about this movie? Those are tough for me to do off the spot. So just some little advice on how to increase the chance that I'll answer your question. Thank you guys so much.